Amendments. Presidential Edition. An amendment is a change to the Constitution. When Washington finished his second term, he gave a farewell address, and he warned America of one important thing: no parties. He was against political parties, and guess how America responded? John Adams wins the presidential election of 1796, but his opponent and rival from the other political party, Thomas Jefferson, is going to become his vice president because he had the second most amount of electoral votes. At the time, they really disagreed with one another, and they did not work well together at all. Let's fast forward 4 years. Jefferson and Burr both received 73 electoral votes in the election of 1800. This election is revolutionary because one political party has now taken the power from another political party peacefully. Very cool. But there's an issue because Burr and Jefferson both have the same number of votes. So which one's president? The Constitution gives the House of Representatives the right to decide who the president will be if no one wins a majority of the Electoral College. They chose Thomas Jefferson. These post-Washington elections are showing the issue with the Electoral College. The 12th Amendment is going to change it so electors vote for the president and vice president separately. Inauguration Day is when the president is sworn into office and their term begins. Originally, new terms for president and Congress began in March. November to March, the old president would be seen as a lame duck. They're not as important anymore. Everyone's more worried about the new president, what they're going to do when they take power. The 20th Amendment changes the presidential inauguration day to January 20th, thus reducing the lame duck period. 20th Amendment, 20th of January. Whoa, 2020. Washington felt that no president should serve more than 2 terms. And no president did. That is until Franklin D. Roosevelt, FDR. Man, this guy looks familiar. How do I know this guy? Oh yeah, the Penguin. FDR was elected 4 times. He didn't serve the full 16 years because he died in office though. The 22nd Amendment is passed and it limits a president to 2 terms. If the vice president takes over for the president because they died, and they serve less than 2 years to finish out that term, it doesn't count as one of their 2 terms. But if they serve over 2 years, it does count as one of their terms. Yeah, I know, but there's not much we can do about it, so there you go. Wait a minute. 22nd Amendment, 2 terms. Genius. Which state is Washington, D.C. in? Trick question. It's actually not in a state. It's its own separate district. It's between Maryland and Virginia. Since Washington, D.C. is not in a state, the people that live there cannot elect a voting member to the House of Representatives or the Senate. That's why their license plate says taxation without representation. They live in the U.S. and they're taxed, but they can't vote for the representatives that make those tax rates. The 23rd Amendment gave Washingtonians, those that live in D.C., the right to vote in presidential elections. They have 3 electoral votes. Wait, the 23rd Amendment? If you take that 3 and rotate it to the right, it looks like a W for Washingtonians. They're just giving you the answers. People that live in Washington, D.C. still don't have voting members in Congress. Sorry about that, Washingtonians. Sometimes people die in office, or they resign. How do we fill these vacant seats? That's where the 25th Amendment comes in. If a president dies, the vice president takes over. If the vice president dies, the president selects a new vice president who must be confirmed on a vote by both houses of Congress. If the president can't complete his duties, he can write Congress and tell them, hey, I shouldn't have the powers of the president right now. So if the president was like under surgery, they obviously can't respond to nuclear threats at a moment's notice. That's why the vice president is the acting president. They have all the powers of the president temporarily. Now, let's say a president was acting a little crazy, but they didn't know they were acting crazy, and they sure weren't going to admit they were acting crazy, but really we don't want them in control of the government right now. The vice president, along with the majority of the cabinet, could write Congress saying they don't believe the president should hold power. And the VP becomes the acting president. If the president contested this, it would be in the hands of Congress to decide the outcome. So the 25th Amendment does a lot. It sets protocol for vacant seats, acting president, and presidential disability. All right, there you have it. Those are the amendments that affect the presidency. I know you wish there were more, but that's all I have for you today. I'm going to go. Have a good one. Peace out.